Welcome, curious souls and steadfast guardians of Bosphorus secrets, to your home of privileged whispers, Turkish Spotlight Secrets. As the final days of 2025 melt into memory, a tremor unlike any other has shaken the skyline of Turkish showbiz. Forget hallway murmurs and coffee break chatter, this is a thunderclap that has cracked the glass ceiling of the celebrity elite. At the center of the storm sit two names that can halt traffic on the bridge at rush hour, Hazal and Çağatay Ulusoy. But the jolt that sent shockwaves through the tabloids came from a third forceful voice, unexpected in its timing and steel-edged in its certainty, rising above the din to declare a verdict that left even industry heavyweights stunned: this love is impossible. Before we wade into this maze of denied heartbeats and carefully protected truths, a small gesture of belonging: subscribe, tap the bell, and if you want front-row access to what others dare not say, press the join button. At Turkish Spotlight Secrets, we peel back layers with the care of a jeweler and the courage of a diver in dark waters. It all seemed frozen beneath a leaden December sky, until the rumor engines ignited in unison. The spark? A whisper, then a wave, then a roaring tide, a sensational, irresistible romantic pull between Hazal, the queen with 1,000 expressions, and the golden boy of primetime, Çağatay Ulusoy. On paper, it's the headline that sells itself. Online, it's the tag that devours the timeline. Fans began spinning narratives overnight, editing montages from old scenes and new sightings, crafting their fantasies into trending cannon fire that echoed from Çağatay to Bebek. But while hearts were racing and hashtags multiplying, a powerful declaration cut through the noise. Çağatay Ulusoy, who shares an unforgettable screen history, and possibly more, with Hazal, broke his celebrated restraint to deliver a sentence that tasted like cold steel. This love is impossible. Neither the shadow of what came before nor Hazal's family would ever allow it. Let us hold that statement under the magnifying glass of Turkish Spotlight Secrets. It didn't sound like the wounded pride of an ex, nor the vanity of a leading man. It felt, instead, measured, like a surgeon's line drawn before the first incision. Sources deeply embedded in circles that orbit the pair reported an even sharper assessment, murmured over a private dinner where phones were surrendered and doors were triple-checked. It's sensationalist fuel, he is said to have insisted. It's not aligned with the facts. Structurally, this story collapses. It's a house raised on sand. Why unleash such a severe judgment now? The fuse was lit at a high-profile soiree, a gathering so star-studded that even the chandeliers seemed shy. Far from the microphones and flashbulbs, Hazal and Çağatay slipped into an extended conversation, quiet, concentrated, the sort that pulls the room out of focus. From there, the floodgates opened. There were whispers of private messages exchanged at unholy hours, of rendezvous arranged with the help of discreet drivers, of late-night confessions entrusted to the safest of friends. The headlines cried new love. Behind the curtains, the air grew heavy, volatile, charged with the static of unfinished chapters. The most striking facet of the caution delivered by Çağatay is the specter he invoked, an unspoken, undeniable ghost of a past romance that refuses to stop knocking. Even if the names remain unuttered, the industry needs only the outline to panic. What happens when a celebrated old story collides with a nascent one? Would the old flames quietly wither, or would their embers roar back, scorching everything in sight? The question that terrifies agents and executives is not merely sentimental, it's algebraic. It speaks to sponsorships, to audience loyalty, to networks that count seasons by the rhythm of public favor. Now enter the other wall, colder and higher: family. Those who understand Hazal's world know that her inner circle guards her peace with military discipline. They have seen the toll that breathless gossip exacts. They know the currency of a reputation and the fragility of trust in show business. In past chapters of Hazal's life, the family's nod, or its absence, has shifted tectonic plates. And this time, the calculus appears merciless. Not because respect is absent for Çağatay's craft. No, there is abundant admiration there. But the package he carries is heavy. A lineage of high-pressure headlines, a calendar that devours sleep, a life built on velocity. 2 stars in orbit is one kind of miracle, a stable orbit is another. Hazal's world prizes steadiness, quiet, shelter. In this moment, according to those closest to the situation, Çağatay embodies wind, weather, and whirl. Dear friends of Turkish Spotlight Secrets, how do you feel about the presence of family in a modern love story? In 2025, should a woman as accomplished and self-possessed as Hazal still have to battle the interventions of those who love her most? Or is family precisely the fortress that allows her to keep her heart intact? The comments await your thunder. And as always, joining our inner circle with the join button fuels the work required to tell you what others won't. As crossfire intensified, Hazal Kaya made a decision that speaks volumes in its quiet silence. No denials, no confirmations. A deliberate fade from the stage of social media, a stillness that hums louder than a storm. Word is, her closest advisors urged retreat, at least until the heat dwindled and cooler heads could take the wheel. On the opposite shore, Çağatay Ulusoy appears to stand at a fork in the road. The meeting rooms buzz, his international map keeps expanding, and yet this stubborn heartbeat keeps resisting the memo to stop. He is torn between impulse and arithmetic, between a feeling that refuses to fade and the iron logic of an industry that punishes the reckless. The interpretation of his razor-edged statement has become its own theater. Those in the know insist it was not a knife thrust, but a shield lifted. A message less about rejection than about protection, of Hazal, first and foremost. This fire will scorch her, he reportedly confided. For him, the storm might pass swiftly. For her, it could linger like a winter that refuses to end. Those are not the words of apathy. They belong to someone who still counts the cost in her currency, who refuses to watch the woman beside him be dragged through an arena that eats its darlings. Meanwhile, digital detectives have turned into archivists, cataloging the tiniest glitch in the matrix. His latest posts carry a dusky, almost resigned hue, her updates thin out, colder, self-contained. Even interactions with their circle seem to have chilled a few degrees. It's the sort of silence that suggests not absence, but aftermath. Something may have flickered, bright, brief, unsustainable, and now both are navigating the echo. And then there's the business. Producers and agents, timekeepers of the machine, are reportedly begging for this narrative to be shelved, sealed, and stored. If this love sees daylight, whispered one powerful intermediary, the consequences won't stop at paparazzi flash. Projects would wobble. Contracts would demand rewrites. Carefully curated images would warp under the heat of 1,000 headlines. His international trajectory, a proud export of Istanbul to the world, is not a toy to be set aflame on a whim. Her standing as a cherished face of homegrown excellence is not a coin to be tossed into a fountain for luck. According to the freshest whispers gathered by Turkish Spotlight Secrets, a quiet protocol has been enacted. No overlapping venues for the foreseeable future. Joint appearances postponed with vague excuses. Private dinners scratched from the calendar. Officially, there is nothing to see. Unofficially, these moves confirm that there is more than smoke, there is fire someone is desperately trying to smother. So here we are, on the lip of the year's last act, staring at the question that refuses to be filed away. This love that he labeled impossible, was it ever truly nothing? Or did it breathe for one bright moment, only to be pressed into silence by family gravity, by the ghost of former passion, by the surgical logic of entertainment economics? The city seems to agree on only one point: the curtain has not dropped. It has been lowered slowly, deliberately, a veil drawn across a play that could still surprise us with a final scene. To those who live for the turning of these pages, we say this: stay close. Turkish Spotlight Secrets will keep watch like lighthouse keepers in a storm, tracking every glimmer on the horizon. Which vision do you choose? The cold clarity of his verdict, or the rebellious hope that love sometimes slips the cuffs and runs? Tell us below. If this deep dive resonated, like and share so the truth can breathe. And if you want to be part of our inner sanctum, the family that makes fearless storytelling possible, hit join now. Your support keeps the door open when others would slam it. One last thought for the brave and the tender among you. Sometimes the wisest words sound like a lock clicking shut. Sometimes the gentlest shield looks like a warning fired across the bow. Perhaps he is right, and the structure cannot hold. Perhaps she is right, and silence is the only shelter that doesn't collapse. Or perhaps the story will tilt, as stories do, right before the credits roll. A late confession. A door reopened. A city that decides it is ready to forgive two people for being human. Until then, the rule holds: separate nights, separate cars, separate exits. Polite smiles for photographers, and no more. Her team crafting elegance from distance. His team stitching discipline over impulse. Publicly, a neat narrative. Privately, a tug-of-war between longing and wisdom. If the sky breaks before the year is out, you'll hear the crack here first. If it stays hard and gray, we will still be here, taking notes in the half-light. This love story may never belong to us, but its shadows have already moved across our walls. That, too, is a kind of truth, one the city knows better than any of us. And if there is a final scene, the Bosphorus will be watching, just as we will, ready to catch the first ripple. Until that moment, keep your notifications on, keep your hearts guarded but not closed, and remember, the biggest scandals are the ones no one dares confirm, and the sincerest vows are the ones that never reach a microphone. Turkish Spotlight Secrets thanks you for your time, your curiosity, and your courage. See you in the next storm.